Welcome back, sisters and brothers. Today we're going to take up the great other sacrament of service, marriage. Last time when we were reflecting on priesthood and the diaconate and the ministry of bishops, we were talking about how the church had organized a hierarchy as an organization of love. The most foundational organization of love in the Christian life is the sacrament of marriage that flows, of course, from baptism. It's that union of husband and wife, a union intended by God. You know, the history of marriage goes back long before Christ, long before the Jewish people. It was, as the church says, it was written into human nature that we would long for one another and long for lifelong company. The fact of Christ's coming, as evidenced in the wedding feast at Cana, is Christ understood the importance of marriage. And in fact, we would say in the sacrament of marriage that the dignity of marriage has been elevated to a pathway of grace. The purposes of marriage. In the years before the Second Vatican Council, if you would have asked a Catholic what the purpose of marriage, they would have said the procreation, the creation of children, cooperating with God and bringing children into the world. The Second Vatican Council looked at marriage and said there's more to marriage than just procreation. And first among what is a part of marriage is the reflection of God's love. And so they used the language that marriage has two purposes: the partnership of life and love that is shared by husband and wife, and ultimately with children. Thus, the procreation and education of children, that all of that together makes up the sacrament of marriage as lived out. The wonderful thing about the sacrament of marriage is when we look at the ministers of marriage, oftentimes people will say, as a deacon, that I've married lots of people. In fact, I haven't. I've married my wife. What I have done is witness the marriage of a number of people, husbands and wives, who join their lives together as ministers to one another, so that the one sacrament where the minister is not the bishop, the priest, or the deacon is the sacrament of marriage, the sacrament in which these two people become for each other the avenue of Christ's grace. When we think about the meaning of love, love is to will the good of another. That indeed is at the heart of marriage. A husband willing the good of his wife, a wife willing the good of her husband. The church, in looking at the sacrament of marriage, does understand that sacramental marriage, this very special pathway of grace, is intended to be exclusive and lifelong. That it does go until death do we part. The church's teaching is a reminder for us of the way God's love works. God's love for each of us and for all creation is a one and only love. It goes on and it is exclusively oriented towards each and towards all. As human beings on this earth, our capacity to love is limited in that way. And so our love we're called to that exclusive love in the sacrament of marriage of husband and wife, committed to each other unconditionally until death do we part. When I'm preparing couples for marriage, one of the things I say to them is a way to think about the love of the sacrament of marriage is to say, in this pledge to you and you to me, there is nothing that one can do that can stop me from loving you. That's the way God loves, always, intensively, infinitely, without end. And we try to imitate that in the sacrament of marriage. Sisters and brothers, if all of us approach marriage as a great sacrament of love, of the lifelong unity, and that yields the fruit of children and life in our communities, we indeed would be renewed.
Please like, subscribe, and comment below. God bless you.